Okay, so the last one we're going to practice is we're going to dull down a color using its complement. This is probably the one I use the most to dull down the color because it will pretty much just dull it, maybe darken it just a little bit. But this is one of those ways you can kind of make your more naturalistic colors. So we're going to go ahead and use our orange and our blue, so blue and orange. We'll paint those in first. And then you'll notice how these oranges look different. They kind of look like maybe like a pumpkin orange, and then like a fall leaf orange, and then maybe a fall leaf that's like completely lost all of its coloring. And then you can see the same thing on the blue side where the colors get a little duller. One of the things you have to be extra careful of when you're doing this is that you're truly using an orange and not a yellow orange or a red orange, because if you do, let's say, a yellow orange, this color is going to get greenish. So you want to be real careful to have a nice orange to start with. So let's go ahead and paint in those colors first. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water to my brush. These paints are getting a little thick, so I'm going to pull a little bit of it and just make it flow a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just make sure that you don't add too much water, that it's not dripping for you, or make it too transparent. I made this orange last week, so I'm not sure how well it's going to work. But I'm going to have to really make sure I clean this brush really well before I use it in the orange, where I'm going to dull it down right away. So make sure it's nice and dry. Well, it's a little sticky, but it's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead in here with my orange. So while I am painting in the orange, I can pretty much do this a couple of ways. I could just add a little orange to the blue, little by little, and get a transition to make it duller. Or I could make a brown, because if I mix orange and blue together, I'll have a brown, and I can make it get duller as well. And I feel like I have a little more control over the color when I do this. So you can choose to do that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make brown, and I'm going to put it in the center here. So I'm going to do this off to the side here. So I'm going to take a little bit of the orange and then a little bit of the blue. I probably need more orange than blue. So that's looking kind of green. So that makes me feel like I need more orange. And then see how it's green? What's the opposite of green on the color wheel? It's red. So I'm going to grab a little bit of red. And if I mix those two opposites, I should be able to make a brown. Okay. So I got a pretty good brown there. I'm going to go ahead and paint it in the center here. So you can make a bunch of different browns by using your different complementary colors. So I'm going to let that dry. And so while I'm working on that, or while that's drying, I should say, I'm going to go ahead and use some of my blue. Let's see if you still see it in the palette. Yep. I'm going to just add a little bit of the brown to it, stir it up to make a slightly duller blue. And I'll go ahead and paint that in. So it should look less bright than the first one. So I'll take a little bit more brown, mix it up some more, and that blue that I just made. I'll go do the next one. But these should still look bluish. You don't want them to turn brown right away. The whole point is we're dulling blue, not making brown. This one does not look a lot very blue. I bet you if I put a couple of layers there, it would look more bluish. Okay. So I went duller towards the brown. So I'm going to actually work backwards here and go duller towards the brown this way. It's the first time and only time in our scales we were kind of working backwards, so be real conscious of that. So I'm going to take my orange, right? I'm going to actually just mix it here because I'm kind of done with it. Take a little bit of the brown. In a duller orange. Add a little bit more of that brown. And then do the last of it. So now I have a very brown orange. Now I could, like I said, just add a touch of blue, right? But I just find it's really hard to control. So I'd much rather use the brown I made with the complement. Did not make very much of this color, so hopefully I can make it work here. As long as this paint is dry, I can put my hand on it. There you go. So we've dulled down the colors by adding the complements.